snowing in Washington, D.C. on the second full moon of 2025, aka the snow moon. With the crystals falling over our nation's capital, it is a time of renewal. I don't know what it means, supposedly the signal of spring, but to me, it means buy a bag. Everything's been on sale for the last couple of days. We got a lot to get to. We've got Sam Altman and Elon back in the news, trading punches on X on whether or not this is a swindler's deal. Elon putting in a bid, apparently maybe a hostile takeover bid of OpenAI. We've got Hong Kong recognizing Bitcoin and Ethereum as part of your actual wealth to prove your net worth. I don't know. What's your hot take as we head into the middle of February?
I mean, I think that what we're going to be capturing is a series of these ebbs and flows, like you just described. It's a snow moon, supposed to signal the end of winter. Does it seem like the end of winter is in sight? Probably not. It's like a lot of these.
Grab a drink. It's time for another episode of Off the Record on the Rocks. Join Michael Toner and Ankarina Lara as we discuss the latest in all things Web3, AI, metaverse, and crypto. Tune out the noise and turn up the signal as we pour ourselves into the future. Better make mine a double.
Paradoxes. How about increase your net worth? Where? China. How? It's proving you have a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's good. Just hope that there's not someone from the Doge team there who's going to be analyzing your high net worth and asking lots of questions about you, Mr. Chinese businessman. Where did you get all that crypto? I think we're seeing this is the era of paradoxes in our government as the two different arms of the GOP are wrestling with each other to decide who's in charge. Are you telling me? I feel like that's an opener right there. Is OpenAI, Musk, and a potential hostile takeover. We haven't heard about one of these, and I can't even remember the last one, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, this is the crazy news. I mean, also when you say paradoxical, like, and you mentioned Doge, I don't know. We're coming off the Super Bowl weekend, so for me, talk about like this screaming of government efficiency, and they're showing the receipts, and every couple hours some new teenager from the Doge team is tweeting out, this newfound scam money that's being used for all different purposes. It is interesting to watch as they're showing the receipts. They're showing funding for this program or funding for that program. They're showing, yes, they are going through and looking at all these DEI initiatives, like literally running the search for DEI and then showing how much money is being allocated to these things. I'm not saying right or wrong, but they are 100% shining a light on this stuff. While at the same time, talk about the paradoxical nature of this, they're spending a couple $100 million to send Trump and his entire team down to New Orleans, and the security and the Secret Service, everybody got to go party in Bourbon Street for the Super Bowl. Where was Doge there, right? So it is interesting to see. We're gonna show everybody who's spending and wasting all that money, but let's head on down to the Super Bowl for the first time in presidential history.
For the first time in presidential history. Now, you talk about layups, and in the context of basketball games, a layup in business is where it's just an easy one. I mean, it's not a slam dunk. It's just a layup. Just put the ball off the glass and put it in the thing. You're the 47th president?
Right.
47th president, and not one has gone to a Super Bowl. I mean, I could have sworn I saw Bill Clinton in one of those Super Bowl somethings. I mean, and I'm just thinking to myself, Obama, he had 8 tries. I mean, he was at basketball games. How did anyone just let that layup drop in the current administration's lap to better identify yourself with the American people? I mean, wow. Talk about how disconnected politicians are from the everyday person. That not one president 46 times, or however many that were around during our football games in the last 60 years or 50 years, just chose to not go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and talk about a master of media, Trump TV. We've talked about it here, but they got the split screen side by side with the pop culture queen herself, Taylor Swift, in the audience there, rooting on her boyfriend and the losing Kansas City Chiefs. It is just interesting, yes, to talk about Trump TV showing up at the game, the pop culture moment that he gets to then participate in. What a layup! What an easy one! And He's working over the weekend. These guys are pulling full weekend shifts now at the White House, 24/7, baby. They never stop. Yeah, so it's kind of crazy to think. I mean, one other takeaway on the Super Bowl, and we'll get to the OpenAI news here, but no crypto commercials. I know last year at this time, we're covering the big game. Coinbase really was the winning commercial that everybody remembers from the 2024 Super Bowl with their bouncing QR code, just literally bouncing over the screen that took you to the Coinbase website to teach you about buying cryptocurrency. We didn't see that this year. It was really a return to sort of your more traditional storytelling, a lot of big brands, a lot of big celebrities in on those brand commercials, but no crypto adjacent messaging.
No crypto, but I'll say, the AI messaging was ringing loud and clear for me. And that's something that's, again, it's paradoxical. And that's just a theme of the rest of February. The theme of the show certainly is the commercials that were boasting that they were AI generated. If you were to look at with eyes from when I was growing up as a kid, we would refer to that as CGI. That's what people would say. And then that ultimately was called CG, which literally just is an acronym for computer graphics. CGI was like computer graphic imaging, where, gosh, how do you make, the demon dogs look so good in Ghostbusters Part 3? Oh, well, we're using CG now. Oh, wow. How do you make the person fly around in the commercial in the Doritos ad? Oh, we're using CG. Well, Martha Stewart breakdancing is kind of like CG from when I was growing up. It just looks really good and now happens to be generated by an AI video model that ostensibly is running off of NVIDIA's most powerful chip. So all the behind the scenes, how the sausage is made, tells us, oh, this is AI, this is AI. But to your eyes and to my eyes, was there anything that was really AI about the commercials is that revolutionary?
Seal as an actual seal. I mean, these two examples with Martha Stewart breakdancing.
But that's computer graphics. It's not AI.
Right, but I'm just saying that it's one of these funny things where you're describing with Martha breakdancing. It was kind of the camera trickery you see. It's clearly not her, and then
it's a stunt woman with a fake face on her.
Right, none of this is new, but it is interesting to hear you even describe. There is this undercurrent of AI being used now in virtual production and what's real, and we can show you this seal. It's not seal, but it's funny because it actually is seal as a seal. I mean, can you imagine the creative director in the art room pitching this? It's going to be seal, but he's going to be an actual seal. I mean,
do we have enough computers to do the AI to make this look good? Don't worry, we'll just say it's AI and we'll use last year's CGI models. It didn't move. It just talked. It's like I feel like there's some
swap,
real face swap like they've been doing on Instagram and TikTok for like the last 6-7 years. So to me, it just felt like, okay, even bouncing around a QR code is pretty low budget crypto, if you ask me. Like, you can be a little bit smarter than that, right? But I was hoping for some outlandish stuff. And, the most outlandish thing, I think, to me is Tom Cruise opening the entire Super Bowl talking about, this is the moment where some people can make the impossible possible. And all it is him saying the word impossible over and over and over so they can run the 2 Dead Reckoning Part 2 trailers for Mission Impossible 7.5 or whatever. And like, that guy looks like he's AI. He's had a lot of AI put in his face. And by AI, I mean botulism.
Yeah, really, really crazy stuff there.
Lackluster, though, right? Lackluster. So put a point on it. Look, it was not a Super Bowl that anyone really cared to watch. Literally, viewership tanked at the halftime. It was one of those ones that they wish they could do over. Should have had the Bills playing the Eagles. What happened, guys?
Yeah, and I won't get into the Kendrick Lamar diss track, all the drama that has ensued inside of that. But talk about a massive distraction for most people. The game is this big media event. It is, and now you had the president there. Taylor Swift was there, like all eyes on it. And yeah, maybe a little bit of a dud. Meanwhile, back in Washington, D.C., where I assume Elon Musk lives now, he is is putting in this hostile takeover. So I do want to get to this. I mean, this has been the ongoing feud of Elon Musk and Sam Altman. This goes back now, more than a year. We covered it here when OpenAI and ChatGPT first came in the scene. There was this story around Elon as one of the founding members and the original creation of OpenAI as a nonprofit structure to ensure that this American AI, that this super artificial general intelligence that was going to be created, to make sure that it was open sourced and that it was not centralized, and that Elon was really the champion of that. Again, it's this paradoxical nature of, is he good or is he evil? And now here we are, after we know Apple has stared down the balance sheet, has stared down the future looking of OpenAI, and they walked away from their investment. They flew too close to the sun. Apple couldn't stay involved. We know Sam Altman took billions from the Saudis as part of this investment. We know there was deals with the Microsoft ownership. How messy all of this equity and ownership. Who controls this American-made AI? And here now Musk re-enters the chat. I guess technically a original co-founder of OpenAI, has made a $97.4 billion. That's 97 Bs in a bid to acquire the nonprofit organization that controls OpenAI. This is Musk still pecking at Sam Altman for the shift from the original nonprofit model to the for-profit structure. And is this Musk shouting to say, I will pay anything. I will pay anything to make sure that this is not centralized. I mean, not owned by Sam Altman. Not owned by somebody other than me. I mean, shouldn't the Sovereign Wealth Fund probably put up the 97 Bs? I mean, this
or
is
at least a portion of it. I mean, or is this the big look at me right now? Look at me and Sam Altman right now going back and forth. Remember when me and Zuckerberg used to go back and forth, and that resulted in us almost having a cage fight? Well, maybe this is about me and OpenAI, because really I'm just going to buy TikTok while no one's paying attention. There's suddenly TikTok just disappeared from the conversation. Yeah. It just literally disappeared. And there's supposed to be a temporary stay on its banning or whatever until there's something that can be figured out. But suddenly that's out of the news. And who else comes into the news almost at the exact same time, who I think is trying to bury the story? Because if you are Sundar Pichai at Google, you were already going out and talking about your Gemini and your AI products and being very specific to Google's old corporate mantra. Do you remember what it was? It was called "Do no evil."
Don't be evil.
Don't be evil. So they timing perfectly is it even a hostile takeover? As far as I know, Elon, while he was a founder, he was on the board of OpenAI, I think up until maybe just before pandemic. So he doesn't have a seat. And I think in order to do a takeover, depending on how they're structured, you'd need either a simple majority or a super majority. So 51% or 66 or 67% to somehow vote to do this in order to go around Sam. I don't know how many votes he has. So in some ways, this may just be one of those stories that gets floated out there of oh my God, I can't believe what Elon's going to buy next. But when he has literally zero ability to do that. And so what happens during all this big story? Sundar Pichai comes out and just says, by the way, the mantra of Google is not "don't do evil" anymore. Paradoxically, it's actually something we can't really talk about, but we are 100% okay with using our AI for both weapons and surveillance technologies. Yeah. So remember, they were turned away from that OpenAI thing. They went away with Apple. Microsoft was there. They got pushed away. And Google was probably I know how we can get back in this conversation. Let's talk about the military like yesterday.
Yeah. Well, so technically that "don't be evil" got dropped. I'm looking back. It was sometime in the early 2000s. It got dropped.
Oh, really?
Okay. Looks like 2018. However, between April and May of 2018, the company revised its code of conduct, originally removing the phrase "don't be evil" and turned it into "do the right thing." And that had stood as The do the right thing had stood since it looks like October of 2015 with Alphabet. But yes, what you are referring to, and perhaps the more important part of this is from Matt Novak at Gizmodo. Google lifts self-imposed ban on using AI for weapons and surveillance. So Google dropped its pledge to not use artificial intelligence for weapons and surveillance, which, as you're saying, we know that ChatGPT, Biden, I think with Sam Altman, I think at the direction of Microsoft, likely as a big government contractor, at least using their ownership stake over OpenAI, signed a deal with Xi Jinping and China where the United States and China agreed, as Biden was exiting, to not let the AI control the nukes. Well, guess who's saying we're going to drop that whole pledge?
Well, but let's not split hairs, because he doesn't say the nukes. He just says generally weapons and surveillance technologies. So they still may be omitting, atomic devices, nuclear devices, but clearly it's a coming back off of. And, honestly, do the right thing. I'm just waiting for Spike Lee's digital twin to paradoxically sue Google for stealing his IP. But I'll leave that one aside. But 2018, when they dropped it, the exact year that Musk dropped off the board of OpenAI. In 2018, there were already a whole bunch of moves that were happening. And really, I think it was COVID that probably slowed everything down. But this might have been something that could have barreled forward even before 2025, 2024. But the pieces maybe weren't aligned, but clearly moves were being made in these companies to get themselves ready to become more aligned with the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice.
Yeah, it's super, super interesting. I'm kind of reading some of the pieces of this. Underneath the headings of innovation, you'll find the promise to, quote, develop AI where the likely overall benefits substantially outweigh the foreseeable risks. Like, that's the centralized decision now that Google and the team with Sundar is deciding of, as long as its overall benefits substantially outweigh the risks, we're now willing to dabble in weapons of war and surveillance, maybe, like you said, leaving some carve out there for nuclear grade weapons. Maybe they don't get classified as weapons of war. I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, maybe they're just called weapons of mass destruction. They're WMDs, right? Not technologies of war. But again, we're splitting hairs on that. But all of those stories are hitting basically during Super Bowl weekend. So now, what else is Musk up to? We were kind of talking about this before we got on the call, but not only am I throwing up the $93.47 billion, we're going to buy this now, Sam Altman, and go back and forth on Twitter and on X, making little jokes at each other. Altman responds saying, "Oh, sure, I'll sell it to you as long as you sell me Twitter for 9.3, or whatever." But at the same time, the Doge army is now actually shaking down some figureheads, right? I mean, and talk about the paradox there. What's paradoxical about the Doge army? Well, the people that are being shaken down in government, who are being asked to show receipts, who are being asked to show why is their net worth so high when their annual salary is not really warranting of that level of net worth. There's some very high profile, low hanging fruits that are being talked to. And the paradox for me there is that, well, these people who are being questioned and investigated, or they probably don't use those words, they're probably using like scrutinized, are probably people more or less in their 50s and 60s, right? Maybe some high 40s. But these are people of Generation X and the lost generation between X and the greatest generation. And the people who are doing the inquisition are Gen Zs and Gen Alphas. So you paradoxically have multiple generation differences of age and perspective. And I can see the rationale, right? If you're Elon, it's like, well, I don't want anyone going and doing this investigation who has friends with any of these people who are investigating. At best, I want them to be their grandkid. So let's just send in these fresh-faced kids who are completely objective, who hold up the receipt and say, why does a lobster roll cost $148 at the Caesars Hotel for CES, Mr. Andreessen Horowitz? why, man, Miss Pelosi, did this? You have to buy a whole nother outfit, 2 outfits when you landed. How, explain yourself? Because to a 22-year-old, 23-year-old, have zero concept of an idea that you fly for business and that you have a per diem. How do you even spell that? Is that even in English? and now I'm pulling these receipts and asking questions to someone about something that they ate or bought like a decade ago. So to me, it feels, that's the paradox to me, is the kids are putting on the big boy clothes. They're playing astronaut, they're playing fireman, and they're playing Doge agent. And they're going in and talking to people their parents' age or better and asking them the hard questions. Did you really need an extra side of tartar sauce? That was $8.
I mean, some of this is crazy because it's all going down on X. And I saw Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, retweeting some of the Doge Bros receipts. And he's out there saying, I think he made the comment last night or the night before that the Department of Treasury should put all transactions on the blockchain. I don't know if you saw this.
On chain?
On chain. I mean, it's
Which chain?
likely on Base, if I had to guess, which is a layer 2 of Ethereum, which strangely is the one that Eric Trump tweeted about that might be a good time to buy some Ethereum. And World Liberty Financial, the media company token meme fun pump launch from Trump, is holding bags of Ethereum. I know we said not financial advice, or we're not going to say NFA anymore, but I mean, that's what's actually happening. These guys are out there buying bags of Ethereum. They're buying bags of Solana. They're buying bags of Bitcoin. The price is tanking. The FUD in the market right now, the obfuscation of the narrative, let's show all the receipts from all of these crazy things while we buy up all the cryptocurrency in the background, right as the snow moon covers up our tracks.
Ooh, I like that.
And it sets you up for a sovereign wealth fund that has digital assets as regulation comes online that allows companies to custody these assets, perhaps not even paying capital gains tax on it. Michael Saylor rebranding MicroStrategy, continuing to be the Bitcoin treasury company, the BTC company that no doubt will re-enter the group chat. All the while here, we were talking about the Super Bowl and Trump and Kendrick Lamar and maybe a lackluster television commercial summer.
Well, yeah, and based on all the stuff that you just said there, that takes us back to a couple of the different episodes. This is episode number 101. We celebrated last episode with 100, and before that 99. This has been a good 1, 2, 3 punch as we're settling into this next full moon. But there are a lot of cryptocurrencies out there. An article just hit that said that at the current count, the number is close to 11 million cryptocurrencies. I think it's 11 million and some different tokens. So Doge is 1, Solana is 2, Bitcoin is 3, like that. There's 11 million of those. To our listeners, it has grown exponentially because in order to make a cryptocurrency, a token, all it requires now is a simple copying and pasting, and you could get it live in 10, 15 minutes. And that's how you see all these coins pop up that are like Kendrick Lamar halftime coin. They come up quick. They come up as memes. They're here one day, they're gone the next. So the part that's a paradox of the market is, well, if you're supposed to be following the true ethos of what crypto is all about and unfettered access to every human on the planet to create a store of wealth, it can't be touched or tampered with by a centralized bank or organization, then you would say, well, obviously all cryptocurrencies must be treated equally. Because if you're going to treat one a certain way, well, then you should treat many others. And we all know Bitcoin is unique among the 11 million. Why? There's no company, there's no address, there's no CEO, there's no one where the black helicopters can come and get them. The rest of them do have that. 11 million minus 1 have that. They have a company, they have an address, they have a human. So, but they're all created equal, right? But we don't have a spot Doge ETF product that I can buy at Wells Fargo. However, we do have a spot Bitcoin ETF and a spot Ethereum ETF. We don't have a spot Solana ETF. And I say all that smiling because we don't yet. Let's not forget who was at the rotunda for the inauguration. Well, a guy who has apparently enough ether that he feels comfortable tweeting about it and not saying NFA, but just saying FA. This is financial advice. Go buy some. You will thank me later. Okay, that's one. Who are you, Mr. Horowitz? What's your project? Solana. Okay, we'll make sure a Solana ETF is in the works. How about you guys over there? Oh, Mr. Garlinghouse, XRP, also known as Ripple. Probably want to get an XRP ETF in there somewhere. And, maybe we'll just stop there. Oh, Elon, I'm sorry, Elon. We'll do a Doge ETF. Now we'll stop there.
Look,
okay, everybody else, so sorry, you're not the same. These guys are different.
We need to unpack this a little bit. We've been calling this that there's going to be this core set of cryptocurrencies. We talked about your layer ones, your layer twos, Base, Solana, these as layer twos, Doge as a different cryptocurrency. We're talking about ETFs. We're talking about a few select of them sort of rising to the threshold of regulatory blessing, regulatory approval. Well, here's a headline that you and I didn't talk about. This is from about 5 or 6 days ago. This is from CoinSpeaker. XRP excluded from a Hong Kong crypto list. So this was basically a list of approved tokens that were going to be available in Hong Kong. And I guess of the list of crypto tokens that got listed, I'm reading this clarification on XRP availability in Hong Kong. And I've said this for a long time, that Hong Kong sort of functions as this proving ground for whatever we're beta testing in the US markets. Like, if it's going to work on the global stage, it has to work in Hong Kong first, because that is literally the bridge between the United States and China to have this trading ground inside of Hong Kong. Well, this is from February 7th. It says, in recent developments regarding cryptocurrency trading, Hong Kong has only whitelisted Bitcoin and Ethereum for retail access, countering claims of a broader list of authorized cryptocurrencies. So basically, they're saying that it's not that XRP was somehow left out, but it's just not being called out specifically, I guess. I would just say one to watch, because to me, XRP, here, this is rich. This is really good. This afternoon, our boy Jerome Powell, sitting at the dais here in Washington, D.C., he promised some senator that he would not create a central banking digital currency under no circumstances. And no CBDC would be created under his ruling. Well, great. That's good. Great. That's great news for crypto. That means that we don't need a centralized bank creating a digital currency. We don't need a CBDC if we have decentralized solutions that the market has now accepted and that can now be, dare I say, regulated in the financial markets. But XRP still seems to me a little different. It seems to me that if XRP and the ISO standard that they are updating the ACH transactions to, and Ripple is already ISO 2022 compliant with the banking system to be able to run these crypto transactions on their blockchain, then doesn't that scream centralized banking digital currency that's masquerading as a decentralized token in the marketplace?
That's exactly what I was going to say, is that I think there's now going to be a heightened level of scrutiny that you're going to see coming from the international markets on what are becoming, we talk about our American AI, what are also American cryptos. And you said it before, the American crypto is the currency that runs the AI. So if you have half a brain and you're sitting in Hong Kong and say, well, wait a second, it kind of sort of seems like Doge and XRP, those two specifically, are being absorbed into the American government process in a way that one is to lead efficiency. Let's just say if it's Doge, okay, then one is going to start settling a transaction layer among the American banking system, and it's called XRP. Maybe Hong Kong says, well, that doesn't sound like cryptocurrency at all. That actually just sounds like two new versions of the American dollar that are masquerading, like you said, as cryptos that are full on wearing burned cork under their eyes and are on their elbows and knees going along the bushes across borders like American commandos. But instead of that, they're CBDCs that are pretending, oh, no, we're just a crypto, the little Doge dog. Oh, little XRP Ripple. Oh, we're not America. What are you guys doing out here? Oh, no, you put us on your exchange. We want international investment because we know if we control the crypto, then we can rug pull anyone at any time. They can have full control over the outcome of large investments in that, no matter where the origin of that money is in the world. So I would feel like that's too hot to handle. If you're anyone who's an international investor who knows that the United States government might do something with that token at any time that they want, you might be nervous about that. The same way, but let's just put a different context. Let's say there's a brand new cryptocurrency that's made in China and it's on the Hong Kong exchange. It's called the DeepSeek coin. And it suddenly becomes a meme coin. Everyone loves it. Well, if you're an American investor, you might say, well, wait a second. Is that a project or is that just a way that the Chinese government is going to be siphoning, I should say, money out of international banking markets? I would call it a Trojan horse if I were them, and I would keep it off of my exchange, right? It seems fishy.
I think that that's the game right now. And so for our listeners, I know we just kind of went to a real deep place, something to watch. But in my opinion, identifying which of these American-made cryptos are running on American AI as the currency of those particular platforms. And now you need the hardware and the software. You need the program and the AI to be able to both run on an American-made blockchain in order to control the data and to control the currency. And I think it's one to watch. So between Solana, Doge, XRP, the ones that are rising to the top, it does put me in that Bitcoin maxi position because right now that's the one that is still different than all the rest. I'll leave you with the final thought here as the snow continues to rain down just outside of DC.
My final thought is there's been a number of articles that are cropping up. And again, no one is highlighting them, which to me signals something. But the articles that are cropping up are internet investigative detectives going deep into DeepSeek and really trying to unpack, was the Chinese AI application made in 3 months? Was it made for less than $6 million? Did they not use the contraband NVIDIA chips that they were not supposed to use? Now there's all these people calling into question that there is nothing novel about what they did, but the way they scaled it is. But if they cheated and when they scaled it, then it actually wasn't a new model. It's just a magic trick that was a convenient one that kind of tanked the market just the right time to put the blood in the water and in the streets and make people want to go buy more. So I think we're one more FUD article. If we see either Elizabeth Warren or Jamie Dimon come out randomly and make some outrageous statement like, if you use cryptocurrency, then you're aiding and abetting human traffickers, that would be my big buy signal to start loading up as fast as possible, because that's how you know we're at the bottom of the barrel if they have to call in to Dimon or Warren, because they do this on whatever interval they get tapped to do it. So to me, that's our rock bottom. When you see that post from one of those people saying those tired old tropes of why Bitcoin and why crypto is so bad for the world, that's when you should start buying as much as you can, because that's when it's going to start to rise right back up.
I love it. We will keep our eyes peeled for that signal through all the noise. We'll do it again next week, and
enjoy the snow days. Enjoy these snow days while you can.
In the meantime, load up. I'll talk to you.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
That's all the time we have for this episode of Off the Record, On the Rocks. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. See you next time for more news and all things crypto and Web3.